The company's investment and franchise business has been restarted and is being promoted in an orderly manner. Mr. Liu has also taken care of it and is devoting himself to his work with all his strength. After all, he has been a good brother for so many years, and he was able to advise me in this way to stop gambling. In fact, I was quite touched in my heart. If we are not true brothers, how can we be so dedicated? I also promised him face to face that I would never take another step closer to Macau. During this time, I have been busy taking care of various company affairs every day, and my circle of friends has also resumed normal social activities. Although I lost a total of more than 12 million yuan in the 2 trips, more than 4 million of it was won back from Macau. The more than 8 million I lost was nothing more than a deposit to me at the time. It's just a change in the balance, it doesn't hurt anything. The company's business and liquidity have not been affected. Until one day, Boss Zhang's sudden appearance broke this bottleneck, and the already fragile heart of Macau began to stir again. On this day, I was browsing the web in the office when I suddenly received a call from Boss Jiang. He said that he was at the door of our company and wanted to come and sit down, but I didn't know if it was convenient. I quickly said, of course it was convenient, and immediately invited him to come up and have tea with me. Boss Jiang arrived at the office under the guidance of the female secretary. I quickly gave up my seat and handed him a cigarette and poured me tea. He still has a carefree personality and makes people happy when he opens his mouth. After the female secretary came to the door and left, he said with a grimace, "Brother, you are such a low-key female secretary. If I am willing, I will do it." I smiled calmly and said, "Why don't I have any reason? As long as you're willing to do it, there's one thing. She's a serious girl, so you can't mess around." After a while of laughter, Boss Jiang got to the point. It has been more than 20 days since I left Macau. That time he won more than 5 million with the 2 million a shot his friend gave him in New Putin. He gestured with joy and said, "You really don't know, brother, I am relieved. How can I win?" The joint officials praised me for being lucky for 7 days. Later, he went there twice in a row, and he could bring it with him every time. 2 to 3 million come back. Now Boss Jiang has changed from the previous decline in Macau and is finally proud. He came here today to repay a loan he made in Macau. After get off work, I invited Boss Jiang and his driver to have a light meal at the local restaurant opposite. He almost paid for a bottle of mutai. When he saw wine, he became closer than when he saw his parents. When we parted, his driver drove him to the car, and he struggled to wave to me, "Brother, we'll see you in Macau." After seeing Boss Jiang off, I returned to the office alone. His appearance brought back all my memories of Macau, especially the scenes of him collecting money. You can imagine how crazy it was. Such scenes are not unfamiliar to me. During my first trip to Macau, in the new Putin BI, Chairman Wu suggested that I take the lead. I lived up to expectations and managed to turn a loss of 3 million to a profit of more than 11 million. The exciting scene is still vivid in my mind when I think about it. But now I have lost more than 8 million. Although the impact on myself and the company is not great, it is more than 8 million after all. How can I not feel distressed? I really wish I could fly straight to Macau early tomorrow morning to recapture the lost 8 million. However, on second thought, the company had just restarted the project and made a firm promise to Mr. Liu, so he gave up. But tonight is destined to be another sleepless night. The shadow of Macau lingers in my mind all night long. It is said that it is difficult to quit gambling and it is difficult to meet the blue sky. It seems that it is really not groundless. For several days in a row, no matter it was day or night, Macau was always lingering in my mind. I felt like I might be depressed. The days passed by, and the launch of the project was not ideal. 2 consecutive weeks of advertising did not achieve the expected results. I was very anxious. Is it not the right time to enter, or has the brand been greatly devalued in the minds of customers? That's what really worries me. Reshaping the brand image is not something that can be accomplished overnight, it is a systematic project. It has taken nearly 10 years for the company's brand to become what it is today, during which time the hard work and wisdom of many people have been gathered. The internet age is really scary. It can destroy a brand, even overnight. The only worry is that it accompanies me every day, and I suffer from dilemmas every day. To invest in advertising or not to invest? Money is flowing every day, but the expected results are not achieved. Over time, which company can survive? It indicates that the brand management will be abandoned from now on, and 10 years of hard work will flow in vain, and the results will be even more terrible. If those $8 million are still there, and all of them are used for advertising and reshaping the brand image at this time, it may have a good effect. Hey, what's the use? What is most lacking in this world is regret medicine. This afternoon, I received a call from Zhu Tingting. Although we have kept in touch on WeChat, this was the first time we had a phone call. Since she followed my advice last time and returned to Suzhou from Macau, she succeeded in convincing her work unit leaders and parents according to the arguments I gave her, making everyone believe her reason for running away from home. Therefore, she expressed her gratitude to me many times on WeChat. The boyfriend who fell down has not yet entered the judicial process and is probably still hanging on for dear life. But a few months later, the Discipline Inspection Commission did not invite Zhu Tingting to tea, which shows that her boyfriend may have vented his conscience. Perhaps their relationship is a pure lover, and there is no transfer of benefits at all, which makes Zhu Tingting herself feel guilty. It is unfounded to worry about the future. Zhu Tingting said on the phone that she was very bored recently and wanted to go to Macau to relax, and she hoped that I could accompany her. What an enemy. I was in the dilemma of whether to go or not. Her phone call made me completely determined. The time we agreed on was Friday the day after tomorrow. We would set off from our respective cities and meet at the Macau gate without leaving. I still have one day to prepare. As soon as I got to work the next day, I announced my decision. Not only would I continue to do it, but I would also increase investment according to the previous plan, as if the lost 800 billion was back in my pocket. Tomorrow is Friday. I took out all the bank cards in the safe. There were 15 cards in total, with a total balance of 10.5 million yuan. It was originally more than 12 million, but just a few days ago, I returned the 2 million Hong Kong dollars that Sister Zhao had washed. I picked 3 cards, totaling 4 million, plus the 820,000 that Mr. Jiang just returned. I hope God will bless me and allow me to get what I want. With these gambling capital, I will be satisfied if I can get back 1/3 of the 8 million. The visa had been processed long ago. I called Xinhao's public relations manager and booked 2 suites, one for each of Zhu Tingting and me. When the public relations manager asked me how many rooms I wanted, I even hesitated. The number of rooms indicated that I could only share a room with Zhu Tingting. Although they had already understood each other tacitly, it still seemed extremely abrupt to act on their own initiative. If not, it would be counterproductive and make each other extremely embarrassed. Since the 2 rooms respect her, if they are interested in each other and want to, they will not delay getting together. Anyway, you don't need to pay for the room. I even secretly rejoiced at my wishful thinking. Lying in bed and looking at Xiaoying and her child sleeping beside her, a feeling of guilt arose spontaneously. This woman broke through the shackles of her family, endured tremendous pressure, and lived with me namelessly and without status. I usually go to work and have to take care of my family and my children, but she doesn't complain at all and has 100% trust in me. But in my heart, I still thought about being in the same room with another woman. I was really an asshole. I even wanted to slap myself hard. When Xiaoying and the children got up, I had already put a rich breakfast on the table. I got up early and went out to buy it. It seemed that only in this way could I feel better. It was the same old excuse again. I was going on a business trip for a few days. Xiaoying went to help me pack my supplies without even thinking about it. I felt even more uncomfortable. The flight to Macau is at 12 noon, and I still have some time to go to the company to explain. I don't want to be disturbed by the company's trivial matters while I'm gambling. I called Mr. Liu again and told him that the city was organizing some entrepreneurs to go to other places for research, and I was lucky enough to be selected. It would take about 2 to 3 days, and I would leave the company's affairs to him for the time being. I deliberately left my car in front of the company for group activities. It was impossible to drive alone. Gamblers are really thoughtful, and their ability to tell lies is beyond the reach of ordinary people. After finishing all this in an orderly manner, I took a taxi and went straight to the airport. The plane landed steadily at the Macau airport. When I exited the customs, I saw a wide road. Standing opposite was a familiar figure. Sure enough, it was Zhu Tingting. She was still wearing a white dress, carrying a small satchel in her left hand, and dragging a big red suitcase in her right hand. She was looking towards the exit with ease. The whole style was eye-catching. When she saw me coming out, she kept waving her arms, and I quickly walked up to meet her. There were no greetings, just a smile, just like a pair of lovers, everything was silent. Scenes like this seem to only appear in romance novels. After getting into the nanny car sent by Xinhao, we naturally sat in the back seat at the same time. She even leaned on my shoulder intentionally or unintentionally, and her previous worries were swept away. If we had known this, why waste a luxurious suite in Xinhao?